September 2022, Cocoa Beach, Florida. Hi, this is Janet, and I'm Sly. Back in 2016, we both decided it was time to stop working, buy an RV, and start traveling the country and the world. And once the RV was pretty much the way we wanted it, we started our travels, and we've been doing it ever since. So join us as we explore this country and the world, and maybe we can even meet up with some of you along the way. We've been down here in Cocoa Beach now a little bit longer than we usually stay in most places, but we have been having fun. Some of our friends told us about a bar not too far away called Social Distancing. Interesting name for a bar. So we had to go down and check it out. As far as bars go, this was a neat place. It had pool tables, dartboards, the regular stuff you'd expect in a bar like this. But they also had a live band. The band was a local band that played mainly 70s classic rock. The music was a little loud. That's okay. You couldn't have much of a conversation, but it was fun to listen to. The lead singer was a character. He played guitar, but I think he actually did a better job playing keyboard, and I enjoyed listening to him play keyboards a whole lot more. We enjoyed our night at Social Distancing, just listening to the music and having a few drinks with friends. Now we've been here at Cocoa Beach a few times, and this time, like I said, for quite a while, but we've never had the opportunity to go out on the water. So, when one of our friends offered to take us out on his boat, we just couldn't pass up the opportunity to see Cocoa Beach from a different angle. We left the marina at Patrick Space Force Base and headed to the canals just south of the base. Today was a nice day. It was a little overcast, but that's really good because it tends to be just a little bit cooler than it normally is. And we had fun going up and down the canals, looking at the houses and looking at all the boats hanging out there on their own docks. But eventually, we left the canals and headed on up to Bird Island. Bird Island is just slightly north of the base, and it's two islands with big sandbars where people tend to come, drop anchor, and just hop in the water and enjoy. The water here is only a few feet deep, so you can walk around and not have to swim. After quite a while at the sandbar, we headed back to the marina with our dolphin escort. We've seen a lot of dolphins from the beach, but this is the first time we've seen wild dolphins this close to us while on a boat. We slowed down our trip back to the marina just so we can spend some more time with the dolphins swimming alongside our boat. It's just amazing to see these things up close and personal. Kinda makes you want to jump in and swim with them, but you can't forget these are still wild animals, and even though they look cute and cuddly, you should probably keep your distance. Well, anyway, eventually the dolphins moved on, and we made our way back down the channel and into Patrick Space Force Base Marina. It was a good day. And a few days later, another great day with friends that we haven't seen since Las Vegas that finally showed up here at Cocoa Beach. It was great to see both Susan and Mike again. We spent quite a bit of time together down there in Las Vegas since they just started with their RV travel and we've been doing it for a while. Of course, we had to show them the town. We took them out to the beach so they can see the ocean and enjoy a drink from a tiki bar. We went and explored Cocoa Beach itself. And of course, we had to take them to the tiki bar because, the tiki bar is our hangout. Even though it was raining, we still had to take him there to see it. We introduced Mike and Susan to all sorts of people there in the rain, but when we got home, a surprise. Well, it seems that there's a hurricane coming, and this is our first notice that we may have to evacuate. It's good to know what your evacuation zones are. And there's the hurricane. Hurricane Ian. Now, the hurricane is still a long way away, and it's still several days before it gets here. But we start studying the maps and starting to look at all of the stats to figure out if we're going to get whacked and how hard we're going to get whacked. This far out, the tracks are all over the place and the cone of uncertainty is rather large. But it's looking like it's going to go into the Gulf, which is way west of us, so I think even with these crazy tracks, we should be fine. Well, at this point, we have about 3 days, and it's already getting cloudy. And of course, we had to have a big hurricane meeting at the Tiki Bar where we decided what we were going to do and what we were going to drink during the hurricane. The Tiki Bar is getting a little sparse because a lot of people have already bugged out. Us, well, we're still hanging on. At 2 days out, we woke up to this. Well, it seemed that the hurricane started to veer further east overnight, and now it's looking like we're going to get hit a lot harder than we originally thought. Not only that, but now the hurricane is projected to be at least a 3 and maybe even a 4. So that changes things a little bit. First of all, we start noticing that all the airplanes on the base are starting to run away and the flight line on base is looking empty. Maybe I should prepare too. And so I did. First step, remove everything from the yard and stick it inside. Second step, get some extra water just in case. Third step, make sure the alcohol supply is good. Oh, and what happened to Mike and Susan? Well, a day after they finally got to Florida, they turned their butts around and headed back north to get away from the hurricane. Well, they're a lot smarter than we are, I'll give them that much. But we have other friends here, and, well, we're gonna stay, at least stay for as long as we can. Let's see how that works out. The next day, we noticed that the base is starting to prepare by buttoning everything up. The Tiki Bar even closed, which was tragic. We actually had to go inside the club to have our pre-hurricane party. The hurricane is now officially a Category 4, and they're thinking it might actually become a 5. We're all buttoned up, and the last time we looked at the track, about 3 hours ago, it's still looking good for hitting Panama Beach. Now that was before the pre-hurricane party. After the pre-hurricane party, well, things changed a little bit and maybe even got a bit confusing. Of course, by now it's too late for us to move, and the hurricane continued to change directions and came within 5 miles of us. What the hell? So, having no choice, we rode out the night. We had winds at about 70 miles an hour, but again, we did good and the park did good as well. When the sun finally came up, or at least we think the sun came up because it wasn't dark anymore, although you certainly couldn't see the sun. Anyway, when the sun finally came up, we went out and surveyed the damage that had come overnight as the hurricane passed within 5 miles of us. We had some light flooding. I mean, nothing serious. Keep in mind, it rained a lot overnight, so flooding was expected. But again, nothing really bad. We never lost power, water, or sewer, so life was pretty good. I didn't sleep much, but it was still time to cook breakfast and get ready to start our post-hurricane day. Although it was still a little windy, it wasn't raining much, so we took a drive around the base to see the damage. Yes, there were puddles all over the place. Big surprise. But as far as damage goes, we didn't see much. Yeah, a little bit of a fence that got blown down there, but still, not a whole lot of damage. Now, puddles? Oh yeah, there were some good-sized puddles that you had to drive through. But I'm sure those will go away soon. The Tiki Bar? It came through just fine, although some of the other little areas around it lost a few fronds off of the roof. It's going to need some repairs, but not the tiki bar itself. The tiki bar is in excellent shape and ready for business. The marina next to the tiki bar, it looks just fine too. All the boats are upright. That's always a good thing. Although we did notice that the river here was starting to get kinda high. I mean, that's supposed to be a boardwalk, not part of the river itself. And those boats should not be where they are. We drove to the other marina at MWR and noticed that the river was really getting angry. I mean, this is a river. It's not the Gulf. It's not the ocean. It's a river. And look at this. It's silly. So this got us wondering just what is happening to the river level back at the RV park. And, yep, the RV park level was coming way up, and it was coming up a little quick. So when I looked out the RV window and saw this, water actually pouring across the road from the river, I decided that enough is enough. We're way too close to this water and it's time to bug out. Fortunately, we could move the RV to another spot in the park that's a whole lot higher and a whole lot drier. But even before we left, water came into our sight, and it came to our sight really, really fast. Within like 20 minutes, the water came in so fast that the entire RV park pretty much was underwater except for the higher areas where we parked. The water was coming across the street in waves, but fortunately, we were gone and parked up high on the hill where we were nice and dry. But some people didn't move fast enough, and now they were out there stuck. The fire department came out and search and rescue went out to bring those people back to dry land. The fire chief was there, the base commander was there, and together they decided that maybe hanging around this park might not be a good idea anymore, and right then and there they ordered an evacuation. You had a choice. You can hook up your RV and leave with it, or you can leave your RV up on the hill where it would probably stay dry and just leave in the car. Janet and I, well, we left the RV up on the hill knowing it was going to stay dry, or at least hoping it was, and jumped in the car and went over to some of our friends' place where we intended to spend the night. With so many people all trying to leave the park, and there of course being only one road out of the park, and even that road was a little bit of flooded in places and had junk on it that you had to steer around, well, let's just say the procession out of the park took a while. But in pretty quick order, we all made it out of the park. And really, we didn't have very far to go because our friends were on base as well, staying at the hotel, and they offered us a place to stay. So thanks a lot, both Mike and Ronnie, for offering us a place to stay with you so that we didn't have to go hunting for a hotel room someplace in the Cocoa Beach area. Once we got our stuff settled in at the hotel room, well, the four of us decided to have a proper hurricane party and headed on downtown for some burgers and a beer and just a little bit of fun. As it turned out, we picked a popular place. It seemed like most of the park was there drinking and having a good time. And while we were there, we also found out that we could go back to the park. That's right, the water level receded and we can now go back. And we did. And the next morning, we were able to take our RV and put it back in its original spot. All that was left now was the cleanup, both the park and the RV. So, Janet and I got down to cleaning up the RV because we tracked in a lot of mud and dirt over the past few days, and it needed a really good scrubbing before we could settle in and finally relax after what had been a harrowing couple of days. It took a while because the RV was a mess, and of course things got more complicated because after not losing power during the entire hurricane, we actually lost power now that the hurricane was gone. We also have no sewer, but all that is gonna get fixed in the next few hours, so no worries. So, this is our first hurricane of this season, and what have we learned? Well, the track that they predict and the track that actually happens are two different things and very seldom the same. The hurricane, expected to be a 3, eventually became a 4 and almost a 5, and it didn't go north. It came straight at us and missed us by about 5 miles. Like I say, That was our first. Hey, we had a season with 5. Let's hope we don't have that here. Anyway, we're back to enjoying ourselves right here at Cocoa Beach. And with that, we end 2 more weeks right here at Patrick Air Force Base. We didn't go to too many places, but we did go to a few, and as usual, if you look down in the description below, you'll find a link to every one of those places that we visited, so that way you can find it a lot easier than we did. Janet and I both hope you enjoyed following us on this adventure, and this time it really was an adventure. And with that, we both hope to see you here next time as we continue to explore this stop.